welcome back. The next president of the United States.
Wow. Oh my God. It was worse than Oprah.
So as the southeast corner of the United States suffers from Hurricane Helene and the Gulf Coast awaits Category 5 Hurricane Milton, Kamala Harris has decided that her October surprise is that she doesn't give a shit about Americans. She would rather go on Stephen Colbert's show and drink a beer, go talk to the cackling hens on The View, or go talk to Oprah in front of a virtual audience, for that matter, right? And so in this one, Megyn Kelly gives Kamala Harris a little piece of her mind. Now let's go ahead and check it out.
You won't be surprised to learn it truly was like female Jesus showed up. Female Jesus walked onto the set. And keep in mind, this is ABC, which already treated her like female Jesus at that ABC News debate. And I use the term ABC News loosely. Just watch the walkout. It looked more like Elvis showing up at a concert than this did like an organization that is supposed to be a news organization hosting a presidential candidate. For the listening audience, that was Whoopi Goldberg, who balled her little hands into fists. Oh, the next president. Oh. Could you just try to grow up a little, like try to act like an adult person, like a professional? It would be great. I mean, I guess you just, whatever, there are no illusions anymore. And as I've told you before, been on The View many times, they give you the questions in advance. 100%, I guarantee they gave Kamala Harris and or her team, this is my opinion based on my own experience, a little blue card with all the questions on it. That's what they did with me every single time. And I said, I don't need the damn questions. I do this for a living. I'm good. There's zero chance, in my opinion, they did not give her the questions in advance. So they gave her this hero.
Additionally, what I've been hearing is that not only did The View most likely give the questions in advance, but Kamala Harris's team most likely gave the questions to The View. So they're telling The View what questions they can and cannot ask. And they set the parameters of, don't go here, but you can go here and keep it safe. Kamala needs her safe space. And if you ever want to have her on again, you'll follow the rules, right?
Rose, welcome. And then here's Sunny Hostin asking about the differences between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And my prediction is this is going to be made into a campaign ad for Trump within the next hour. This answer. Watch.
What do you think would be the biggest specific difference between your presidency and a Biden presidency?
Well, we're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I lead.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
Sunny's reading off of her cards.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
I guarantee you that's being made into an ad right now. It might hit before we close out the show within an hour. We'll keep checking. There's no chance Trump's not going to pick the second half of that answer, pin it, and end it with what he's been doing, which is, I'm Donald Trump and I approve this message. That's her owning all the Biden policies on a day in which the new New York Times Siena poll drops with good news for Harris, showing among likely voters nationally, she's now up 3 points over Donald Trump. The margin of error, is it 2.4? That's how it appears based on my note in front of me. In any event, it's either outside the margin of error or it's pretty close. And the reason that she's now up over Trump, they were tied in mid-September. Early September, Trump was up 1 over her. Now he's down 3. So that's not great for Trump. They say the reason is more voters are saying Kamala Harris is the candidate representing change in this election, 46-44. In previous Times Siena polls, Trump was identified as the candidate of change. And what does she say? What does she say when she gets out there? We're the same. First, she's the inane, well, we're different people. It's sound like a Chris Farley skit. How are you different? Well, first of all, we're different people. He's a man and I'm a woman. He's a white man and I'm a black lady, half Indian, half... I mean, like, how dumb, right? She's just trying to stall because she realizes she's on quicksand, and then she fails. You know, Sunny has to follow up because she's got her little blue card right in front of her. I've seen them a million times. Her questions are written for her. And so she asks the follow-up question, but like, if you had to say, and she goes with kind of nothing. We're the same. Good luck spinning that, because this poll shows us that the people want difference. They want change. They do not want 4 more years of Joe Biden. All right, joining me now to discuss these and other news stories today are Evita Duffy Alfonso, host of the Bongino Report Early Edition with Evita, and Link Lauren, TikTok influencer and former senior advisor to RFKJ. Guys, thanks so much for being here. Link, I found your profile so interesting. So you wound up working for RFKJ because you understood how to leverage his message with the power of TikTok, and you did so well with it. He was like, I need this guy working for me. And a blessed union was formed, and you really helped him reach a lot of young people with his message. You proved to be absolutely critical in getting his thoughts out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Fascinating background. So you're both on the younger side and both accomplished given your ages. And so you tell me whether young people who in particular want change are going to be persuaded by, well, you know, we're different people, but I pretty much agreed with him on everything he did. I'll start with you on it, Evita.
No, I don't think it's going to work well for anyone, especially young people. I mean, young people, especially, the polling is showing they want change. It's not working for them. They can't afford their groceries. They can't buy a home. A lot of them are really animated by what's happening in the Middle East. There's a lot of pro-Palestine young people, and they associate Kamala with the Biden administration, which they were calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe just a couple months ago. So this is really terrible messaging for her. And I think that it exemplifies how inept she is, because her first of all, the entire media apparatus, but also her team, including Doug Emhoff, have been trying really hard to say Kamala is not the same as Biden. This administration does not define her. She's her own person. And then she just goes on The View and dismantles the entire narrative that they've been trying to create for her in a really spectacular, failing way.
It was pretty extraordinary to hear her say that, you know, because Link, that this is going to come back to haunt her. She's been trying to dodge that bullet. And the irony of it being from friendly fire, right? Sunny Hostin, who has been advocating for Kamala Harris for a long time, well before Biden even dropped out.
No, totally. Kamala Harris, for the last few months, since July 21st, she's been going out on stage and acting like she's never met Joe Biden. She's like, my first day in office. When I get into office, it's like, sweetheart, you've been there 1,400 days. And then we ask her to do some hardball interviews. She goes on The View. Does nobody remember Ana Navarro was one of the MCs of the Democratic National Convention this year? Ana Navarro, she's not going to ask her hardball questions. Sunny Hostin, she's not going to ask Kamala Harris hardball questions. If you can't handle hardball interviews, how are you going to take on Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, President Xi? You think these guys in the Middle East have any respect for women? Kamala, you've got a bad thing coming if you can't handle a hardball interview.
That quote is going to be everywhere. I mean, you heard it here. 100%. He's going to make the most of that. And this, especially given that New York Times poll, which is not great. I mean, any thoughts as somebody who just came off of a campaign, Link, on what drove Trump from being 1 point up to now 3 points down in this New York Times Siena poll since mid-September? So we're basically talking 3 weeks.
Totally. So I'd have to look at some of the crosstabs of the poll. I know that Kamala Harris is outraising and outspending Donald Trump, so maybe she's doing a lot more spending in these swing states. I think also Donald Trump is missing some key cohorts, right? I've been sounding this alarm for months. If you go to the Women for Trump page, there's not a single event for Donald Trump, right? So they've really doubled and tripled down on low propensity young male voters, which is great. Love them. But you need to be doing more outreach to women in swing states, suburban women in swing states. And the fact of the matter is people aren't between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. They're between, am I going to vote at all? Or am I going to just stay home because I don't like either option? And Trump really isn't doing enough outreach to those groups. He's doubling down on his base and young men, but where are some of these women who are on the edge? Maybe some of the women in the primary who are leaning toward Nikki Haley, now they don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So my team did confirm the margin of error of this poll is 2.4%. So that would put her outside the margin of error.
You know, he made an excellent point there in that Donald Trump might need to focus on trying to win over the more women in the swing states. But at the same time, I feel like Donald Trump's base is a bunch of married men, and a lot of people from the America First side just aren't going to tolerate being married to a person that's not also America First. And I think that potentially these men's wives are also going to go out and vote for Donald Trump, and they might not be accounting for that. I could just be, I'm completely speculating, but I think that Donald Trump's support from women is actually much higher than these polls are giving him credit for. And Donald Trump and his team have to be very strategic in these last 3-4 weeks leading up into the election, because if he spends too much time focusing on people who are never going to vote for him, it's already been set in their mind for years that they're never going to vote for him, he could be potentially wasting time spent on people who are still actually undecided. And frankly, she's quoting a New York Times poll who has been very left-leaning for, I don't know, years, decades. You guys tell me. I don't pay that close attention to the New York Times. I just know that they're very anti-Trump during his 4 years and all that. So keeping that in mind and understanding that polls are basically funded by somebody with an agenda a lot of times, you know, we kind of have to take that poll with a grain of salt. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that Donald Trump would be losing ground to Kamala Harris over the last few weeks. Just considering, you know, the reaction to, especially when you consider the reaction to the hurricanes and, you know, the fact that she's sending money overseas while people in America are hurting and FEMA has run out of money. And I can say that she is the one sending money overseas because she just said to the folks on The View that she co-signs to everything that Joe Biden does. And, you know, it's funny too, when she talks about, well, we're obviously two different people. I've heard her say that probably 10 times now. And it's like, yeah, obviously. But I'm pretty sure you guys both went to Diddy parties. Allegedly, I'm kidding. That was a joke. And I'm also pretty sure that she lied when she answered that question because she wouldn't have assigned herself to be the border czar. She doesn't like responsibility. She likes to just get paid and not show up and consistently fail in an upwards direction, just like she has her whole career. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.